The site is located in Terrace Area, Mumbai. As you know, this area is very congested. The buildings are hardly 5 feet away from each other. The other thing about the buildings is that it was designed in the pre-independence era. So the building has got a very colonial look to it. Hi, I'm Shresht Kashyap, Director KNS Architects Private Limited. KNS Architects has basically three principal architects, Kanhai, Gandhi, Neemesh, Shah, and myself. We've been in the practice for over 20 years now. As a firm, we believe that each space has its own uniqueness. What we try to do to design is actually bring out this character and create an identity for the space. So basically the clients were in this business line that they were for quite some time, but it was a very traditional way of working, and now they were becoming more global. So a very important part of the brief was keeping in fact the new trend. So the design had to reflect that kind of outlook, what the company was going to turn to. So if you go through the section, you'll see what we inherited. We had G+3 levels with not a great floor-to-floor height, no natural light coming into the structure. So what we did was we restructured the interiors, we broke the entire floors, created more height for each level. What we did at the entrance level had a double volume, giving a sense of arrival. Art was to be an integral part of the design. We commissioned Arzan Kambata to help us with the sculptures. So on the right you see a sculpture which actually depicts the entire profile of the company and the kind of work it does. This sculpture actually combines the two spaces, the first and the ground level together. Right in the front we have again a mural that gives you the global presence of the company, and the reception actually has a backdrop which cuts off the entire office for the general public. From the reception, there's a door that leads you to a corridor. This corridor is flanked by meeting rooms. The meeting rooms are designed in a particular way. Each room was colored in a certain color, which actually was very vibrant. So it just helps you to ideate and brainstorm better. This leads you to the main conference room, the boardroom. Again, a sense of the outside, the architecture is maintained inside here. Another interesting feature that we worked with Arzan was the sculpture that actually connects the ground level to the topmost level. It is basically people and forms coming together and climbing upwards. So basically showing growth of the company. And as you walk up the staircase, at various levels, you see very interesting views of the entire sculptural installation. As you move upwards, the first and the second level are basically the workspaces. Fourth is a very congested area and the buildings are almost touching each other. So there was no way of getting natural light within the workspace. The work floors had these windows artificially created. The fixtures inside the windows were lights which reflect the path of the sun during the day. So internally, you get an effect of as if you're working in natural daylight. The third floor, the management floor, what we did was created a skylight which let in a lot of natural light into the space. This light overlooks a sculpture which depicts the mission of the company, which is three human figures which actually show you emerging, stabilizing and reaching for the sky. Another interesting feature of the design was that we created a courtyard within the main cabin, which has a frangipani tree going from it and a nice water body which has a very soothing effect and a very refreshing environment to work in. The fourth floor of the office is basically the terrace area. This area was designed as a very different place from the rest of the office. It is more like a breakout zone for the staff as well as an entertainment area for the clients who visit the office. The terrace has almost about a 20-foot green wall that borders it. It basically does two things. One, cuts it off from the rest of the adjoining buildings, as well as creates a very refreshing environment within. And on the top floor, what we did was created a glass box Why we did a glass box was so it doesn't interfere with the overall characteristics of the building and creates a space which is like a breakout zone. The entire palette for the office was in colors of greys and browns. One interesting finish that we tried, especially in the reception backdrop area, was this new metallic powder, which is a spray, and it gives you a nice metallic sheen, which actually adds a lot of character to the space. The cabins on the top level were treated with wall coverings, which again follow the same theme of greys and browns. For us, this project was very interesting and very challenging because the fact that it was a heritage structure, we couldn't touch the outside at all. Internally, we broke the whole building down and rebuilt it with the kind of design intent we had, creating the voids, skylights and the courtyards, and eventually it was very satisfying to see the end result.